I'm Prue Bovey. I'm from Burke, Virginia.
I'm Mindy Klasky-Madry. I'm from Arlington, Virginia.
I started BDI 5-6 years ago. My friend Steve suckered me into balance class. And as soon as I realized they knew what they were doing, I began using more and more of the services. And I was lying on Gwen's massage table, which is like a sacred space. It's an unbelievably valuable place to learn about your own body. And she said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to write a romance novel. She got very excited and said, well, I can't tell you anything, but I have a client who's also a romance novelist. I need to ask her if I can pass on your name. Very concerned about the HIPAA rules. And the next week, she said, a month later, she said, okay, I want you to meet Mindy Klasky, who was a romance novelist. And Mindy went to lunch with me, a total freaking stranger went to lunch with me. And now I've written 5 novels and published them because of Mindy.
I started at BDI because I had a spondylolisthesis, and I came in for some physical therapy so that I could actually sleep through the night. And after about 2 months of spondy treatment, I graduated to having massage therapy instead of the PT. And so I also found myself on Gwen's magical massage table. And from my perspective, one day Gwen was working on me and she said, I have something to ask you, but I want to make sure I don't intimidate you too much. And I said, I really don't get intimidated very easily, but, and she said, I have this other client. She's given me permission to speak to you. Her name is Prue, and she wants to write romance novels. I said, well, I would love to meet her. I talk to new writers all the time. Most of the new writers I talk to have great ideas, but they never quite get around to writing them. And so I agreed to meet Prue for lunch, and we sat down and she said, here's my great idea. And I've actually started writing it, which was wonderful to hear that. And then we got together for lunch about 2 weeks later, and Prue said, I've finished half of my novel. And I said, that's fantastic. And we got together about 2 weeks after that, and she said, I finished the whole thing. Will you read it? And that was the beginning of
Which is a terrible thing. Etiquette-wise, that's a bad thing to do to any writer.
But Prue, as she said, has now written 5 novels. I've written about 40 novels. We have successfully gone on writing retreats together. We get together every Friday so that we can write together and come up with brilliant new ideas on how to change the romance writing world. And we just have to make sure that that Friday session doesn't interfere with Prue's training session or with my classes that I'm taking, and we managed to balance all of it.
We do all our writing with our hips level because we've learned. but what I say is that ours is a BDI romance. Body dynamics brought us together, and thank you.
I was counting the number of experts that I've worked with at BDI, and I think it's a total of 12. I think I've worked with 12 different people here. Everything from Barbara does my global muscles and Chip does my stabilizer muscles, and they talk to each other, and I can never get away with anything. They know what they're doing. And then they talk to Gwen, who does massage, and they all 3 of them work together in this network of knowledge. They know so much more about my body than I do. I've been to Jorge for physical therapy. I've been to Regina for therapy, biofeedback therapy. My husband died 5 years ago, and it was BDI who helped me get through all that. They knew me, they loved me, they took care of me, and got me through really hard times. I have been adopted into a family of real experts, and I gleefully recommend Body Dynamics to all of my friends and family, most of whom come here now, and are also promoting Body Dynamics vigorously to all of their friends, because there aren't that many places in the world where they don't look at why your bicep muscle hurts. They look at what's going on in your life and shape their therapies and suggestions and support so that you're getting something that you can actually live with. You're getting a change that you can actually live with. For me, knowledge is power, and these people are really empowering me. So I've been coming here for almost 6 years now, and I started because I'm a fat old lady, and I'm still a fat old lady, but by God, underneath all of my snow is some serious muscles. I have a six-pack. No one's ever going to see it. But I am so strong. I'm not going to fall over. I am going to be healthy and sound and mobile when I'm 90. And I think that's more precious than anything. I am never judged here. And no one ever looks at me and says, honey, lose 50 pounds and then come back and talk to us. They never say that. No one has ever said anything about that. They see me, they admire me, they respect me, and they give me the support and encouragement that I have never gotten anywhere else. I feel better about my body now than I have in 62 years. I'm very proud to be here. I love that.
I started coming to BDI when I was diagnosed with a spondylolisthesis, a dislocation in my spine. And I started working with a physical therapist who in one session was able to give me a simple set of exercises that completely transformed my life. I was actually able to sleep through the night. I was able to get up in the morning and walk without moaning and groaning. And it was an entirely new perspective. I went from thinking that I was going to need surgery immediately to knowing that I had years and years and years before I needed surgery, which I still haven't had, all because of the exercises that I learned how to do here. Eventually, I graduated from physical therapy after about 8 sessions or so, and my graduation ceremony placed me in massage therapy with Gwen. And Gwen has the ability to feel through your skin and know everything that is going on inside, every muscle, every nerve. And there are times when massage with Gwen is deep and not painful, but just intense. And there are times where her fingers barely sort of trace over your skin and she somehow releases something. I used to go to plays or orchestra or ballet, and I would sit, and after about half an hour, I needed to move my right leg. If I didn't, I was in so much pain. And Gwen worked some magic spell over my knee, and I'm now able to sit and watch a 2-hour show without needing to break that concentration of whatever was going on there, those nerves or muscles or whatever it was. Gwen's magic took care of that. So I really trusted Gwen when I told her that my right hip was getting tighter and tighter, and I had much less mobility and much more pain. And she suggested that I see a specific surgeon. I'd seen somebody a few years earlier who had said, yeah, you'll probably need a hip replacement. You'll tell me when it's bad enough that you need it. And Gwen said, why don't you go see this surgeon? I've heard great things about him and we treat a number of his patients here. And so I did go see him, and he said, yep, might as well go ahead and do the surgery now while you're still mobile and you'll be able to rehab it much more easily. And so I went ahead and I had the surgery about 8 months ago. And I left the surgeon's office with orders to do PT to rehabilitate the surgery. And I started here at BDI exactly 3 weeks after the surgery. I worked with Jorge on that. He's another one of the mind readers who's around here. His job was both to get my body back in line and to get my mind back in line. Our first session, I started telling him about the surgery and about how frustrated I was that I wasn't actually, running marathons or anything like that. And he very smoothly reached over, put the Kleenexes in front of me and said, tell me more about what you expected to be able to do at this point. And it was such a wonderful moment that he heard what I was saying. It didn't scare him that I became emotional. And he was able to help me through my frustration and to get a more realistic picture of where I was, where I should be, and where I was going to end up. As part of all of that rehab, well, actually it was before the rehab, it was the beginning of pandemic. I started taking some of the fitness classes that BDI offers. I had never taken them in the studio when everything shut down. And so I started taking classes at home. And the instructors, again, have some sort of X-ray vision. They can see through their computer screen into my exercise room. Exercise room is a glorified term for an extra room in my house. And they could tell me, your hips aren't even, you're leaning too far to the right, you're not standing up straight, get your rib cage down. And they can tell all of that just through the screen that they're looking at. I also started working with a personal trainer during pandemic. And again, I had never worked with anybody in person, but she was able to work with me. Grace was able to work with me at home. She asked me what equipment I had, and then she developed a set of exercises that helped me to gain strength and fitness and flexibility, all using the things that I had around my house. When I would say, I can't do this exercise, this is just too hard, she immediately had a modification that made things easier, but still tested me and still drove me. And so now, years into my BDI journey, I have taken advantage of the physical therapy and the classes and personal training, and I would do anything they told me to do because I feel so much better with the work that I have done.